Father, thank you so much for bringing us to another week. Thank you for the opportunity and the privilege that we have to call each other SWAU family. I ask that you be with our program today, be with our speaker, be with our guest. Help us to be attentive to what he has to share with us. And also I ask that you continue to be with Wiz's family and his friends as we continue to just reflect on his life, and we are also still grieving. So be with each of us and touch us in the way that you only know how. And I ask that you be with Pastor Russ and his family as they experience loss this week as well. Continue to be with Pastor Russ, his wife Jeannie, their children, and all their family members as they grieve the loss of their father and grandfather. Thank you, Lord, for listening to our prayer. Thank you for this day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, let's give Dr. Schwartz a hand as he introduces our program.
Welcome, everyone. I first met our guest on the top of Mauna Kea on the island of Hawaii when we were there last May, and it was a really exciting experience. At that time, he said, "Is there any chance that I could come to your university and give a talk?" And I said, "Well, I'll work on it." And months later, he's here. Thanks to James, that is Mr. Tay, to bring him here. Our guest today is Christian Clowers. He's a Belgian Belgian documentary photographer, explorer, and visual storyteller, dedicated to revealing the fragile relationship between humanity and the natural world. He has an academic background in political science and global management. Those are master's degrees, and years of field expeditions in far-off places. He documents the accelerating impacts of climate change, biodiversity loss, and ecosystem vulnerability, particularly in the polar regions of the Earth's oceans. His mission, and I really like this part, okay? I think everybody should have a mission. Sometime stop me on the sidewalk and ask me what my mission is, but never mind. His mission is to bridge science, policy, and industry through powerful visual storytelling, transforming complex environmental realities into accessible narratives that resonate across cultures and generation. He's a fellow of the Explorers Club of New York, the Royal Geographic Society of London. Mr. Clowers has lectured on every continent, and I had to ask him about this. He has lectured in Antarctica, okay? He's published 9 books. He's exhibited his work internationally. And by integrating scientific research, indigenous knowledge, and artistic expression, he aims to inspire informed action and global responsibility for the protection of our planet. Thank you, Mr. Clowers, for being here. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Just a bit so that the screen is really bright. I'm a photographer, but I don't profile myself as a photographer. My background is also completely different. I would say I'm a visual storyteller. So storytelling goes beyond photography. When I take a photo of anything, it can be an animal, plant, a scientist at work, that's not the final product. This is the tool. I will start from there on. So storytelling, for me, is using my photography worldwide to build bridges between different spheres of reality. And I hope my clicker does it. It doesn't so far. Let's see. Yeah. So policy, strategy reports, politicians, and so on, they speak a certain language. The industry, making profit, they have their own goals, they have their own ways to get things done. And the scientific world, well, they come with data sheets trying to understand our natural environment and planet. So all of them, they speak there in different realities. Now, image can be very useful. You don't need to speak language. When you look at an image, it evokes emotion, it gives you information. It can be used to build these bridges. And that's what I do worldwide. In fact, next week I will be at COP30, the Climate Change Conference of the United Nations in Brazil. That's going to be my next stop after visiting your beautiful state. So the Anthropocene, so anthropo is Greek for humans. Officially 11,700 years ago, the last ice age stopped. And we are now in what geologists call the Holocene. Now, I put this specifically in words that scientists now consider that this is the new geological era. They talk about the Anthropocene because of the impact that we human beings are leaving on this planet. Impacts in terms of how we use land, of what we eat, of what we put in the atmosphere, put in the ocean, and so on. We see that in the last 200 years, we have an increase of greenhouse gases, global warming as a consequence, warming oceans, melting glaciers, and so on. Documenting that is part of my work. My work has to do with the relation between humans and nature. Although we are part of nature, we are disconnected from nature. Half of the world's population now lives in cities. We have no understanding anymore. If we are put in the wild, maybe there are some exceptions, I hope there will be, then we get lost. That's why I would like to start with a photo like this. I'm also a documentary photographer, which means that every single photo you will see the coming half an hour is really what my eye also saw. This is the Arctic in winter. The only manipulation I did is that my camera had a slightly longer shutter, so for my eye it was darker than what you see. Very little colors in the Arctic, very hostile environment. This is what is called a whiteout, almost a whiteout, because you see a group of people. Indigenous knowledge anywhere in the world, and in my projects it's mostly in the Arctic, Sami, I'm from Europe, continental Europe, you talk about Sami people. You have Inuit, probably also in Alaska, right? And then, of course, Canada, Greenland, and so on. These people, they have a holistic understanding of the environment. They see themselves as part of it. They can survive in these conditions. I'm not easily scared, but I realized when I took this photo that I might be standing on a glacier, and there are crevasses in glaciers, which are really dangerous. There are also polar bears around. I was unarmed those years. I was more crazy than I would be now. Now these people, indigenous people worldwide, they would never take something that they don't need. They have a sustainable way of living, and this is the way they have built up adaptation, resilience towards the minor changes that are now being bigger and bigger. And we're talking about climate change, which means that their cultural habits and also environment is changing so rapidly that they're losing the way to adapt because it's happening so fast. Now, I only have one infographic because as a photographer, I would like to show you my work. But I think this is a very strong one. It's also Greek words. I love Greece. It's an ancient root, also linguistically. So ego, the self, you see, this is the modern world. We are the top of the food pyramid. There's no animal, with the exceptions, of course, that we cannot take, that we just cannot, well, kill, basically. We're on top of that. Nobody except human beings are killing us. The right way, ecosystem, this is the way indigenous people think. That's the holistic way, part of nature, part of a bigger entity. If they take something away, they understand they take something away from a complex system of which they are part. So have a look at this photo. Still the Arctic. I really love the Arctic. Now this is the Arctic as it should be. The Arctic is warming up 4 times faster than anywhere else on this planet. This is still what you can witness. I'm from Europe, so I think in kilometers. This is about 1,200 kilometers. That would be, I don't know, 800 miles, I think, land miles, right? In miles, I think in nautical miles, because I'm a sailor, which makes it even more confusing for me. But anyway, this is in February, and this should be also the same thing in summer. Now, I took exactly the same photo in July. It looks like this. No more snow, no more ice. This is how the Arctic looks like only 800 miles from the geographical North Pole. And that's alarming. And a consequence is that the soil, which is called permafrost, permanently frozen underground, is also melting. I have a collaboration with the European Space Agency. It's comparable to NASA. So sometimes I will tell you when it's not my photo, this is a satellite photo, it's below you can see it, Copernicus Sentinel-2. So this is the high Arctic in winter, the high Arctic in summer. Exactly the valley, so I have a pointer. So the photos that I took were in this valley. So you see that's really effective to show you what is going on. Look at this photo. You see in the middle of the photo, I'll go to the right screen here. In the middle of the photo, you see the horizon with a little house. It's not a residence. It's a hut used by scientists for remote observations, for charging batteries, polar bear protection, and so on. But what it's really about, all this, the background, is one and the same mountain with some clouds in front. It's really far. It gives you a ratio and this little house. But you see these S-shaped curves on this mountain. So that used to be a glacier. It's called erosion. So this photo is a witness of what once was and is now not there anymore. It disappeared. On the foreground, this is the melting permafrost. You see a piece of plastic. It's not so clear. A lot of ambient light on the screen, but this is plastic. There is a tube here. There's a pellet. All of these are are artifacts, human-made artifacts. A consequence of this permafrost that is thawing is that it's cracking open. And we have huge amounts of methane hidden in the soil, in the ground. And all over the Arctic, methane, which is a greenhouse gas, which means it's something we need. We need greenhouse gases. If not, our planet would be cooling down 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. Sorry, I don't know in Fahrenheit, but it's quite colder. The problem is if you have too many of these greenhouse gases, and that's what we are witnessing, it's accelerating. It's a greenhouse effect. It's getting warmer and warmer. It affects everything. Biosphere, plants, vegetation, fauna, and eventually also human beings as part of fauna. Now, soil cracks open, you see that? I have a couple of photos. Methane is being released. Methane is a greenhouse gas that is 84 times more effective in the first 20 years when it comes into the atmosphere in keeping that heat trapped in the atmosphere. So, on this photo, you still see a little bit of the permafrost. You see, that is the ice. So within that soil, there is still a permanently layer of frozen ice. And the active layer is above it, touching your feet, and that active layer is getting deeper and deeper year after year. And you see really well in this photo that soil degrades, or I think that's the word in English, degrading. So it's shifting. You have problems with infrastructure. In the Arctic, everything is built on stilts because of the frozen underground. You already see that some of them, of these houses and everything, have angles, so you have coastal erosion. It has impact on everything. So a couple of more photos to show you. And again, it's also the human aspect that is of my interest. So this man is an Inuk. He lives in Arctic Bay in Canada. His name is Noah. And Noah told me in September last year that he saw butterflies. Noah has never seen a butterfly. Think about it. Butterflies in the Arctic. Same thing with bumblebees. Later in the interview, he said, we have seen also something that you call a bumblebee. That's my point. It's warming up. Everything shifts. Vegetation, but also fauna, and eventually also cultural. So this is a hazard for how these people live, how they live in a system that they always knew and were reliant of, and that is now changing. For this presentation, I will have to hurry up a bit because I really want to give you a lot of information, but I decided to also implement a bit of the latest expedition that I did, which was in July. This is an aerial photo taken in 1936. Below you can see it, by the Norwegian Polar Institute. This is way beyond satellite, before satellite imagery, so it's taken out of a plane. But what you see is the glacier called Eidem. And Eidem used to be, as all of these glaciers on Svalbard, this is an archipelago in the high Arctic, where I started also with the first photos. This is how a healthy glacier looks like. A healthy glacier touches the ocean. It's called a glacier tongue, and it calves off, and on top of the glacier, new snow is dropping, new layers of ice, and then it shifts, and so on. And the volume of the glacier is stable, and these glaciers, they are keeping our Earth cool as an air conditioning system of our planet. Now, this is how it looks like now. There is a retreat of 1.2 kilometers. Again, it's, I think, like 0.8 miles. This is a drone image that I took in July, and I have another one. It's an entire lagoon that is now formed. So in 1936, everything here that you see was covered in ice. So I followed a team of scientists from three different countries, Latvia, Lithuania, and Taiwan. Taiwan, you will probably know. Republic of China is the official name, I think. And then we were documenting the lagoon, which creatures like live organisms were found. Like, we want to understand, once the ice retreat, if there is a capacity or capability for an entire new ecosystem to evolve. The answer is yes. We found already some small shrimps and so on. The next step might be fish. It's really interesting how life is being created. The other teams, and I was really focusing on them mostly, they were focusing on what you call forever chemicals and also including plastics. By the way, even here, I had made this photo, so everywhere in the Arctic soil is imploding. This is a sinkhole where you see that the mud is already flowing out, and then I asked Sergei to be on the photo so you have an idea of the size. So this is because of global warming, the soil, the permafrost that is thawing. That's what you see. So we were working on land and on the lagoon. These are manta nets scraping off the surface of that lagoon. These are the ponds in between with other small nets, and then this is a Taiwanese team focusing on land. And we found tons and tons and tons of microplastics. Technically, microplastics is 5 millimeter or smaller than that. The problem is it's always getting smaller. Micro becomes also nano. And it is really a problem. When I took a stroll of about 100 meters, that's like 300 feet, this is what I saw. A handful of plastic. That ocean, 5 oceans, is actually one ocean. When I was younger, I learned there are 5, Atlantic, Indian, Pacific, Arctic and Southern in English, but they're all related. A fish technically could swim anywhere. 2/3 of our planet is ocean. That ocean has a conveyor belt. It brings around plastics as well. So even in the remotest area of the planet, on the west of what is called Spitsbergen or Svalbard, there's 2 names, you find plastics. It's everywhere. Now, a big part of my work, of course, it's not only about my work, it's like inherent to the climate change that is happening is a biodiversity shift. There is a huge decline of biodiversity. Scientists are speaking about the 6th mass extinction, whereas the 5th would have been the dinosaurs. A mass extinction, that means something. Think about it. So we know, these are numbers from the United Nations, that we are about 8 million different kinds of species, both plant and also animal species. 8 million, and one of them, human beings, are threatening about 1 million out of them. To a certain extent, can be really minimal to nearly extinct. 1 million out of 8. So I did a big project. It took me 8 years. It's my 7th book that I made, Frozen Heritage. And this is where it all started, this project. The Nordic countries in the north of Europe, you have Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, then Nordic would mean plus Iceland and also Finland. They asked themselves, we have our seeds within our national borders, we have no clue how to preserve them for, let's say, 2 centuries. So the main question, and still for scientists, is how long can they survive? We're talking about the capacity to germinate, the longevity, I think in English, of seed crops. And the project has to do with our food crops. The food diversity that about 13,000 years of agricultural history has brought us. So it started, it's not so clear now, but this is dark because it's deep inside a coal mine, an abandoned coal mine on this archipelago. It belongs to the Norwegian government. They have bought the coal mine, and there is a small door there. It's It's not so clear, but it's a wooden door that they have put in the end of a shaft that is abandoned, mine shaft. And they've put a copper plate on it, which says Frøy Hall, and Frøy is a Nordic old mythological god of agriculture. And in 1984, they have put a black container behind this door, the Nordic countries, and they have put 20 boxes in that black container. 20 boxes with exactly the same seed crops, just spread equally over these 20 boxes. And every 5 years, they would open one box and do experiments, scientific experiments on the germination capacity, the viability of these seed crops. It's called the 100-year trial. You can see it here. And it's operated by what is called the Nordic Gene Bank, which is an intergovernmental organization run in English, right? Run by the Nordic countries. Okay, so it's not so clear, but this box is supposed to be opened. You have to read the date. Well, I'm from Europe, so it's day, month, year in Europe, right? So here it's reverse, so you see 66-12-01. So this box will be opened on the 1st of December in 2066. See some other examples. Just to clarify, there's no way you can access this. This is a project of 8 years. 8 years of work. There's an advisory board of the United Nations, and once a year they go behind that door in that container to check these seeds. It's like -3 degrees Celsius. So at 0 degrees Celsius, water would freeze, so it's pretty cold. This one, I witnessed this, is 2021, when this box was opened. Now, out of this came something that you might heard of. Different kind of experiment, upscale, you can say. So the the Norwegian government, Ministry of Agriculture, they said, you know what, let's do it over. We start to construct a facility, and we build a thing for the entire world. In the US, you would call this a doomsday's vault. I like that name. It's a bit dramatic, but that's okay. Basically, it is what it is. It is a doomsday's vault. And this is now, well, it actually finished in about 2 years, in 2008. This is what you see from the outside. They have put an extra facility here as well, which is not on this photo. It's the very first photo I took in 2013. And in 2014, I managed to enter. If you go on YouTube and you Google, or you put in YouTube like a prompt, like, or in AI probably, like what is the least accessible room in the world, this would be top 10 for sure. Sometimes it's a #1. So I will show you footage that is really unique. So this is the global seed vault, 130 meters, that would be like 500 feet, I would say, above sea level, and 500 feet, a tunnel that has been dug in that frozen mountain with 3 rooms, capacity for 4.5 million diverse seeds, like different kind of seed crops, all related to agricultural history. Nothing is genetically manipulated. So the door opens once, sometimes twice, in rare occasions 3 times a year. Then you have this tunnel, and already this is a photo that doesn't exist anymore, because look at the next slide. The right photo I didn't take because I only managed to enter in 2014, but already there was a leak. So this thing is built for centuries to come. The permafrost mountain in which this tunnel has been drilled is thawing so fast that there was already infiltration of water, and that tunnel was already getting wet, and it's -3 Celsius, so you get frozen ice. So they had to reinforce the whole thing already. It's pretty ironic, I would say. As you see, there is an angle, a certain angle, so all this was like, you know, you could glide down. Luckily, no seeds were harmed. So this is the door deep inside that mountain. At the end of the tunnel, you have a hall with 3 doors, and this is the middle door. And behind that door, behold, for this is perhaps the most important room on our planet. All seed crops, including from the United States, from all gene banks, are being copied here. So every country of this planet has minimum 1 gene bank. There are around 300-400 gene banks worldwide. And gene banks, well, they are managing, you can say, the genetic diversity within their national borders. They're doing experiments to make existing seeds more like resilient against, for example, droughts or floods and so on. So it's really important that we keep these genetics. The same with animals. If they get extinct, extinction is forever, at least for now. I think in China they're trying to how do you say that, revive dinosaurs. That's something I read actually. I don't know if they will manage in the end. So at the left, the carton boxes, entire food crop collection of Canada. Also, these are also really interesting photos. So on the left, you see that this is surpassing any type of geopolitical tension, because these are wooden boxes from the People's Republic of Korea, which would be North Korea. And on the right side, you see a photo of Syria, and the entire Syrian collection, that whole gene bank, was wiped off the map because of the civil war and a bomb that was accidentally dropped there. So if not with this backup facility, we would have lost already a major part of really ancient seeds, because that's where agriculture started to happen about 10,000 years ago. So let us go outside. The symbol of the Arctic, polar bear. We go outside now. We leave the seed crops behind. We go to have a look at fauna. So I like symbols. Everyone loves polar bear, but know that so many species are now being threatened in the way they survive because of the changing environment. Polar bear is one very good example. This is, again, a satellite photo, because they need sea ice to hunt. Sea ice is in decline. It's cracking up, it's scattering into smaller fragments, as this image really shows. And the problem is, well, polar bear are marine mammals. They can really swim, and they can still hunt without ice, but they really need the sea ice to hunt. They're really getting more, they're losing weight. I don't know the exact word anymore. They're really thin. Some photos you might have seen already. They have a problem. And in this photo, I show you multiple information, actually, multiple layers of information. You see a seal. A seal would be a preferred menu for a polar bear. The seal is lying, sunbathing, you can say. It's resting on a small piece of ice. And in the reflection of the water, you see that glacier tongue. Glaciers that are diminishing in volume, that are retreating. The tongue, in many occasions, is at the end of the glacier is not even touching the ocean anymore. When this happens, well, it's shrinking, it's dying, slowly but steadily, unfortunately. The problem is that water is dark. The main function of our polar regions and the ice that is there, whether it's sea ice or glacier ice, is to reflect the energy of the sun. And I'm not talking about light. White would reflect and black absorbs. I'm talking about the heat. The majority of the energy of the sun is heat. And that heat is being trapped in our ocean. When ice disappears, the ocean takes that heat. It's called the albedo effect. This is one and the major source of the heating ocean. Our ocean worldwide is capable to regulate climate as well, because 2/3 of the body of our planet is water. It touches the atmosphere, and there is a relation, because it absorbs CO2 from that atmosphere and it releases oxygen. Exactly the same as photosynthesis in the Amazon forest and every kind of leaf type of tree. So we need that ocean. The problem is it's getting too warm, too much CO2 is being absorbed, so we have acidification and so on, and it's all processes that are now being, becoming very visible. Let's go to Arctic Bay, Canada. This is the place where Noah lives, where the arrow is. There's another type of creature. It's called the Arctic tooth whale. It's called narwhal. Narwhal, they used to have a dorsal fin. It is a whale that evolved into a whale without a dorsal fin. It doesn't have it anymore. Scientists believe that the cause, the evolution, happened because of the fact that they need sea ice to duck for their main predator, which would be killer whale or orca. Killer whale, they have a huge dorsal fin. They can't access their preferred meal, which is narwhal, when there is a big patch of ice and the narwhal is in between, just under the ice, hiding. We now see, without that ice, that this creature is heading south, heading west. They're migrating. So many creatures from north to South Pole. This is Antarctica. Emperor penguin. Same story there. Penguins, especially Adelie, this one, but also emperors. You also Happy Feet and all these films, right? They need sea ice to form colonies. To take that egg, it has a 9-month cycle, just like humans, until that chick comes out of the, my God, English, It comes out of the egg, right? And then sea ice sometimes is too weak or is being formed too late, and then they drown because they need certain time for their feathers, their plumes, to get that layer of fat to protect them from that cold water. Another consequence is, well, let me go back to here. As you might see under that ice, it's not so clear on this photo, but it's a bit brownish, you have phytoplankton. Phytoplankton, small little algae that are being formed. Their basis to get nutrients is under the sea ice. When sea ice disappears, you diminish the entire first layer of a food triangle, food pyramid. So I followed some scientists catching penguins, geotagging penguins, that's what you see here, putting a geotag or locator on their back so that we can understand if these penguins will adapt, where they will go to, because we see that colonies are diminishing. Unfortunately, in the Amundsen Sea, specifically there, we found some bird flu. That's this part of Antarctica. I'll have to speed up, I'm sorry. This is hydrophonic research for whales. Through that sea ice, we were drilling holes to see to which extent whales are migrating. So a lot of climate change information is also hidden in ice, because at the moment that these glaciers are being formed, so snow, precipitation is falling down and is forming layer after layer of ice. In that ice you have bubbles of air, just air, atmospheric air. So at the right, so I'm from Belgium, on the left, these Belgians, they have a history in Antarctica. 125 years ago, we were one of the first to go there, and that's a drill they used 125 years ago. On the right, you see what is called an ice core. And there are many, many places in Antarctica for ice coring. I'll take out only two. Vostok, the red dot Vostok, you see Russia went 3,700 meters deep, and they were looking back in time 420,000 years. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of what I just said. When snow falls down, atmospheric air, oxygen, but also CO2, everything that is air, is being trapped in that ice. So we think about tree rings. When you cut down a tree, you can count the rings and you know the age of the tree. Exactly the same for ice cores. They tell us about ice ages way before 11,000 years. In fact, now we can have a look back. It's not indicated here. The map is dated already. It says EPICA DC. It's a European Union project. 3,270 meters, and they look back in time 800,000 years. So we understand to which extent that the human impact is really a major source of the impact that we are witnessing. Because it's true that ice ages are cyclic, but it's also true that we witness a huge biodiversity decline, and we never saw so much CO2 in only 200 years and other greenhouse gases being pushed in the air. So part of my work is showing the beauty of our planet. This is what is at stake. This is an iceberg, fresh ice water. When this melts, it contributes to sea level rise. I have another photo of an iceberg, this one. Same thing, but it tells you a different story. Power of image. You see that there is a color difference, which is obviously something that is missing. It's already a chunk that has molten and is drifting off and is melting. And then the next crack is there. This is, well, you are from the United States. I'm at Arthur in Mauna Kea in Hawaii. Next to Mauna Kea, you have Mauna Loa. And Mauna Loa has an atmospheric station that is one of the most important of the world, because it's in the middle of the Pacific. That's where you want to measure your atmosphere. These three photos that I will show you now is a project I did in Switzerland. Same thing, but on the European continent. In Europe, it's very, very populated, all the small countries, you know. It's very hard to find a place like that. So in Switzerland, basically the middle of the continent, they have this mountain with a whole research base, and that's where they measure the CO2 levels and where they are witnessing the change. So some photos. Okay, I will bring you rather quickly through the South Indian Ocean to some islands that I was able to witness with the French government, actually through the French government on the French research vessel, witnessing Orca D. This is type D. Research vessels that never touch land, just to avoid a rat or some kind of species, maybe a cat, who knows, going offshore. So all of these provisions, instruments for scientists and so on are brought on land by helicopter. Some spectacular photos here. The observer, that's a king penguin. So these are the last really like pure natural spots where you don't see any human intervention. You can actually state that these are the most vulnerable ecosystems just because of the fact that no humans are there. So this one, for example, is a fragment of the largest king colony in the world, king penguin colony, and look how tall it is, how big it is. So that red square is this detail. So it's huge, it's 100,000 penguins. It smells incredibly, it's really loud. Everyone thinks it's so cute, but yeah. This is Tristan da Cunha. It's officially the most remote inhabited island in the world. Why did I go there? Well, to see how these people interact with nature. And they're English people by nationality. It's a British overseas territories, but they really live like indigenous people. They have no clock, no watch, they have no sense of time. The time for them is how the sun is rising and setting. So the last ocean I will bring you through is the Pacific Ocean. All of these yellow patches is where I documented, climate change mainly. So I'm focusing in the Pacific basically on rising sea levels. Atoll states like this is Marshall Islands. Marshall Islands, this is from space, and they're atoll states. This is the most densely populated island, Ebai it's called. So they really, they don't have altitude. So every millimeter would count, every centimeter would count. And that ocean, that was always a bridge to the neighbor. In a vast ocean like the Pacific, 1/3 of the ocean, of the ocean and of our planet actually is the Pacific. So that is becoming now a threat. This is an island where they have a natural basin of fresh water. It's not so clear on this photo, but there is like a pool. And I took that photo deliberately because it's the exception. Most of these islands, they don't have natural water anymore. Like Nauru, for example, and Tuvalu. They have to import fresh water now. And the consequence of rising sea levels is now that they have to build walls. So here on the left of this island, you see that a wall was partly constructed until they ran out of, financial means. When I was visiting Cook Islands, I witnessed a storm, actually a hurricane myself. So that ocean, always the bridge to the neighbor, is now becoming a threat, an intergenerational threat. So think about it. In 2 generations, they might not have land anymore. I'm talking about Kiribati, or Kiribati, but they pronounce it as Kiribati, Tuvalu, Marshall Islands. Sometimes the highest point is like my hand now, right? Like 2 meters. It's incredible. So this is the house where I was sleeping myself. In Polynesia, nobody uses furniture. They don't have tables. Well, it's not that they don't have it, they don't use it culturally. They do everything on the ground. They pray on the ground, they eat, they sleep on hammocks, so maybe they they do that just because of me, I don't know. But they don't use furniture, so it's even lower to that ocean. Tuvalu, being the narrowest country of the world, has major problems with coastal erosion. The ocean that is being that takes away the land. So you can plant mangroves to hold that soil together, but still it's a matter of time. Yes. A problem is, of course, when you have to import everything, it leaves huge trails. So it brings up the consequence of the use of single-use plastics and so on. So these are all photos. Yeah, this is Paris Agreement. So this is in Philippines. They asked me to make a project in the Philippines. This was recently when I met Arthur. After that, I went to federal states of Micronesia on the island of Yap, where I witnessed coastal erosion like this. And again, the cultural aspect is also a major problem. This is the island of Palau. Palau came up with an idea to protect their marine areas and with what is called a pledge. This is a passport stamp, so they would make you promise that you don't leave everything behind except the footprints that can be washed away. It's called the Palau Pledge. It's a really effective and efficient way to bring awareness before you enter their territory and vulnerable ecosystems. I have to close this presentation with some photos that I selected being at sea for months and months in my entire life. I think I've been like 5 years at sea. So some flying fish, dancing on the water it's called. A flying squid. When I took this photo, I didn't even know it existed. Really a strange animal. And to end with, I'm documenting marine scientific work worldwide. This is my contract with my country. This is the only vessel we have, the Belgica. So marine scientific work, mainly oceanography, but can be anything, geology, marine biology, and so on. So research, of course, scientific research is really necessary to understand our natural planet and ocean, which was for a long time underestimated, but of course also the changes that are happening there. So these are oceanographers. They bring in this, it's called a rosette with all these sampling bottles and Niskin bottles, as they call it. And they think vertically. And so it's one position, they bring it down to certain depths, up to 5 kilometers. That's quite a lot. That's like 15,000 feet, 5 kilometers. And then they bring it up and they start sampling. They start measuring CO2, they start measuring acidification, CFKs, radioactivity, and so on. Collaboration is the most beautiful aspect, I think, and the international aspect about this scientific work. And then to finalize with, this is, so scientists at the lower right corner, you see they're still tapping some water, and then meanwhile we're bringing up a plankton net with some algae, and when we are looking closer and closer, I don't know if it's visible for you, but it's full of these confetti-like colors. There is blue, here is a blue spot, so all of that is also, again, microplastics, and it's a random place in front of Sardinia in the Mediterranean Sea. It's found everywhere now. So global ocean observation is what we need, and there is something like GOOSE, a Global Ocean Observation System, with big help from the United Nations and institutions worldwide. What you see now are instruments called Argo floats, and in January I will be again 1 month on a vessel. We will deploy 9 floats. It's a very effective way to measure. So here we are releasing the floats. Very effective way to measure temperature, salinization differences, and so on over time. Thank you very much. This is just to end with a society. It's a non-profit that I founded, Society for Environmental Awareness. The acronym is SEA. And thank you very much. I don't know if there is time for a Q&A, but I would love to talk further. I have some cards if you would like to follow me here in front. They're made out of the peel of a potato, by the way. So feel free to take a card after lecture, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So after this, you're traveling to Brazil?
Yes.
Oh man, you're okay. So I know you know some of our students because you met them in Hawaii, right?
Correct.
And you've had time to spend with them today.
Yes, we had a lunch.
And wonderful. And you're going to be here for a little while. So kids that want to come up and talk to you, they're welcome to. All right. All right. Yeah. So you guys, let's give him a hand. One more hand. And you can. And we're going to make our announcements now. So interesting. So come see him after our announcements. But he's going to be here for a little while. Thank you, Dr. Schwartz, for making this happen. So we're good. We've got some announcements real quick. Enactus, you got 30 seconds. 29, 27. Oh, no, I forgot 28. Here he is. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. Well, I'll be quick. We have some upcoming events this week. So we have 3, and so please pay attention. They're really fun. We're going to have a great time. First of all, we have the Hillcrest Fiesta that is going to be Sunday, this Sunday. It's going to be from 4 to 8 p.m., and we're going to be like setting up 3, so yeah, just come a little late if you want, like 4, yeah. But anyways, we have also the Just Dance. This is going to be this Thursday. So Thursday, guys. I know some of you guys have good moods and whatever, but it's going to be It's gonna be at 6 in the student center. Student center? Yeah, student center. And lastly, we have FIFA. This Saturday is gonna be from 6 to 10 p.m. So please, like, you don't have to be the players. We also want some people to, like, go and cheer for the players. It's gonna be so fun. But yeah, guys, that's all I have. So thank you.
Thank you. Next. Who's next? Who's next? Navajo. Navajo, you got 30 seconds. Where are you? Navajo. Navajo has gone. They're gone. Navajo. Oh, Navajo's back. Let's go. Let's go. Hey. Okay. We are rapido. So when we call you up, it's not like, it's like, whoa, go.
All right, so the Navajo experience, so I signed up to be in the Navajo mission trip just to have an experience because it's been promoted for me since like I was a freshman, so I thought this year would be a great opportunity. So if you guys are interested in like serving or ministering to people in the Navajo Nation, come over. We're gonna have a meeting at November 10 at 5 p.m. at the Student Center next week. So if you guys are interested, come check it out.
And you're going this year? You're going to go this year again? All right, wonderful. Who's next? Chloe. Let's give Chloe a hand. Our VP for student activities.
Okay, this Sunday after the Hillcrest Fiesta thing that they're having, we're having an Alley Cats event. It's hosted by SA and Enrollment. It starts at 7:30, but if you need transportation, we're gonna load at 7. Spots are limited, so if you wanna go, everything's free. We're sponsoring you guys. There's arcade, bowling, putt-putt, whatever you guys want. So if you go ahead, get your phones out because spots are limited. So, yes. You have to sign up to go. And make sure you bring your IDs. Right. Thank you, guys.
Alley Cats in Burleson next. Advising Week.
Thank you very much. Oh, can you put the slide back on for the QR? Thank you. Okay, you guys got it? Good. Check your emails. It's on there. Check the TV screens as well. So this week is Advising Week. Please make your appointments with your professors. This week until the 14th is Advising Week. Your advisors will have office hours. Please check those. Get advised. This coming Tuesday, there is open registration at the library, 11:30. Okay, what time did I say? Yes, 11:30. Sound excited to get registered again. Okay, and then so Tuesday we have registration during the daytime. Thursday we're gonna have a night registration at the cafeteria after the game. So you guys go cheer on your nights and then come and get registered. We're gonna have pancakes. It's gonna be a fun little registration night. Okay, yay. You go to the next slide. So if you're a religion or a theology major, we have a workshop tonight. I visited some of your classes to make this announcement. Please sign up. We have about 20. If there is anyone else, we'll take you. Next slide, please. We have club officers workshop / student leaders. But if you're not a club officer or if you're not a student leader, but you want to learn how it is to participate in a meeting, because most of you will be professionals after this, after you leave college, and you will be in some type of meeting. Some of you may even be running the meetings. So this is a great opportunity. I encourage you to sign up. It's going to be tonight at 7 at University. You can tell us what kind of drink you want, free drink, and a great training opportunity. Is there? Yes. Oh. Thank you so much, AV. Okay, great. So we actually have a mission trip coming up in the springtime to Palau. The dates are May 13th through the 23rd, which is funny you talked about Palau. So this is great. We are opening it up to any and everyone. Dr. Tay and Dean Tay are working together to open this up for education majors, health majors, athletes, whoever you are. You guys can sign up if you are interested. We'll have a meeting coming up soon. And we're also working with Pastor Abner. You guys know Pastor Abner from this church. He spent a lot of years in Palau, so he'll be kind of our guide there. And then, yes, just scan the QR code for more information. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yes. Our guest speaker, he touched base on Palau, so you guys need to be out there. Yes, this is sponsored by Student Services and the Athletic Department, but it's open to anybody that is wanting to come. We'd love to have you. We're going to leave 3 days after graduation, and we'll be there for 10 days, and those are the things that we're going to be involved in. So if you're interested, scan that, and we're going to let you know a little bit more about that. Our first deposit is due after Thanksgiving, and then we'll just make it work from there. All right, we're going to close now, and then after we close, if you'd like to speak to our presenter here, come on up here and get one of his business cards. It's made out of what? Potatoes? Potato peels. All right. Let's bow our heads as we close. Father God, thank you so much for the presentation today. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to see and experience what is out there in the world, and also to see what some of our duties and responsibilities and just ways that we can educate ourselves to the things that are around us. Be with us now, Lord, as we close this assembly, but never fall away from us. Always keep us close in your loving arms, and continue to be with us as we navigate the things that are going on in our lives. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thanks, everyone. Come up here and see Mr. Christian. Asa.